Yowdy. How do I sound, boss man? Mic check, mic. All good. And oh, dang. Oh, hold up. Forgot that since it's an early stream, the amount of light in my room is affected. It's too bright in here. Boom, boom. All right. Yeah, it's still like cause like it's like four, four. So like the sun's already set behind the mountains right now, but it's not like dark, dark yet. If that makes sense. It looks like it's like midday right now, but that's just the fact that my blinds are white and the camera I think is como se dice, like overexposed. Like is the camera takes in a lot more light, and I don't really have a way to adjust that setting. So yeah, because my room is considerably darker in person when I stream at the normal time than the camera would lead you to believe, which works out great for me because I'm black. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Okie doke. Time to do the warm up. We got a horror movie. Stanley Kubrick directs. 90s Best Picture. Movie set in New York City. Sci-fi. Crime movie. 80s, 70s, 2000s. Prequel. Ridley Scott directs. Stephen King adaptation. Fictional historical epic. Martin Scorsese directs. George Lucas directs. Okay, so I'm gonna put all the yada yada directs on the same row. Okay, so this is definitely Alien. Yep, Ridley Scott directs. There we are. Horror. Where's the horror thing? Horror, because I think this has got to be The Shining. It's a Stephen King adaptation. I want to say it was an '80s movie. Yeah, and crime movie, Best Picture, prequel. Oh, I guess this is the horror movie. So this would be uh, crime movie. Okay, Best Picture. That didn't win. Oh, I guess it's technically a. What is happening? Did Kubrick do any other Stephen King adaptations? I'm so confused. Huh? All right, whatever. Let's focus on Scorsese. It's a crime movie, probably 2000s. It's not 2000s or 90s. Oh, I understand what's happening here. This is so silly. I completely bombed. That's embarrassing. Hold on. Let's see if it'll let me reload the whole thing before. No, I only have one swap left. Oh no. Oh my god, it took me way too long to piece that together. That's embarrassing. Okay, well, let me guess what the other three movies are. I think one of these movies definitely is Star Wars. I think it's probably the historical fiction Lucas directs prequel movie. And then it's sci-fi. I think another one of these is Scorsese. I'm gonna say, ooh, I'm gonna say Scarface. I think that was him or Heat. Oh no, I lied. Probably the Goodfellas then. It's probably Goodfellas. So I'm gonna guess the Goodfellas is the '90s movie, maybe that Scorsese directed. I'm also gonna guess. So I'm gonna say Star Wars, Goodfellas, and I don't even know what the other one would be. Ridley Scott, maybe Terminator. Taxi Driver, Gladiator. I forgot Ridley Scott directed Gladiator. Taxi Driver, Star Wars. Yeah, Shining, Alien. Dang. That's tough. R.I.P. Anywho, that takes care of that. Okay, I'm having to guess a movie. Martin Scorsese been real quiet since this dropped. Half a star. My heart is telling me it's a Marvel movie. Okay, it's not Morbius. Is it Madam Web? That's funny, bro. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I don't know, Drake. Drayton, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the lore, but I'm pretty. If I'm not mistaken, the whole Martin Scorsese hates Marvel movies and feels like Marvel movies ruin cinema. I'm pretty sure that same interview is where the meme Absolute Cinema comes from. I'm pretty sure that's the same interview where that comes from. So that's why, yo, Angelo, what's up? That's why the Martin Scorsese has been real quiet since this drop was a big clue in for me. That's really funny. Oh my gosh. Let me see what the other ones are. Let's see. We did the original. Let's try the reversal. Pretty Woman, Catch Me If You Can, Uptown Girls, Jurassic Park, Marriage Story, Man on Fire, War of the Worlds, Arrival, Cat in the Hat, Man of Steel. That in and of itself is cinema. Yeah. Yeah. It is pretty it's hilarious. Um that interview became I think it's that interview. Hold on. Yeah, A Conversation with Dr. Scorsese, 2020. If, if I'm not mistaken, this is where
In some of your
the
interviews
meme
before,
comes
you've
from.
talked about kind of
Yeah, this whole interview, because this is the same interview where he rants about. I should save this so I could watch it later. But this is what he rants about Marvel movies and superhero movies, but specifically Marvel movies killing cinema in this interview, and that's where the meme Absolute Cinema comes from. I don't think the image itself is from this interview. I think somebody else added that after the fact from a different interview, but he talks about Absolute Cinema in this interview. It's hilarious. I should watch it. I really should watch it. I should watch more interviews with directors. I think it's important to learn from them how the industry works right now. For me. But anyways, um going back to this. Little Women, Ocean's 11, Blue Velvet. If I'm not mistaken, Blue Velvet is a Lynch movie, but I don't know much about it beyond that. I'm going to start with War of the Worlds, Arrival. Those are alien movies, but what else hooks them together? I think they're also Denis Villeneuve, so there is that to it. Cat in the Hat, Enchanted. Okay, I'm going to go Enchanted and Hook. Mona Lisa smile. Marriage Story. Oh, I know what it is. Laura Dern is one of this. Yeah, Laura Dern is in these three. What else is she in? Crap, I don't think I know. Is she in Little Women? Yes, Laura Dern. Okay. I'm locked in now. I'm tapped in. Catch Me If You Can, Ocean's 11, Uptown Girls, Pretty Woman. Hmm. Hmm. No clue who that is. Yes, you do. Laura Dern is the lady, the mom, in Jurassic Park. And I feel like you've seen it. I feel like I remember us watching Jurassic Park on TV growing up. So you should know her. Laura Dern. This is Laura Dern. You know Laura Dern. You recognize her. Dang, she's 58. Wow. Yeah, but this is her discography. She's been in a lot. Marriage Story. Yeah, you do. I told you you know her. You know her. Of course you do. Um, but yeah, I mainly know her from Marriage Story and Jurassic Park. That's how I made the connection. How do you know her? Where do you know her if not from Jurassic Park? It's arguably her biggest role ever. That's interesting. No clue. Oh, maybe The Founder? I think you've watched The Founder, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen I Am Sam in forever. I need to rewatch that one too. But yeah. Okay. We keep going. Olivia says hi. Oh, nice. Tell her I say hi too. Ocean's 11 makes me think what's his name? George Clooney. But I don't remember a single other movie George Clooney is in. So it does not help me any. My reflexes on the Cat in the Hat makes me think Mike Myers, but I don't know anything else he's in either. At least I think I'm thinking of the right guy, right? Yeah, Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat. But I don't know anything else that he's in either, so it doesn't help me any. Holy, what? He's not in Inglourious Bastards? Is he? Who does he play in that? Oh, he is. Okay. Dang. All right. Let me lock back in. Mona Lisa Smile, Enchanted. I don't know. I'm a little stumped on this one. Arrival and Man of Steel feel like they gotta be together. Something related to aliens showing up is my vibe, but that's not it. So it has to be something else. Who's in this? Amy Adams is in this. Oh, it's Amy Adams. Amy Adams is in Arrival. She's in Man of Steel. She's in Enchanted. And what else is she in? Ah, so close. Okay, that's not her. What? Okay, is she in Mona Lisa Smile? Man on Fire? Wait. Oh, dang, so close. All right, Steven Spielberg directed these four. Dakota Fanning is in these. Okay. Hold on. I know Elle Fanning. Which one of these girls is Dakota Fanning? Is this the older sister? Elle Fanning's 27, Dakota Fanning's 31. Okay, yeah, they're sisters. That's the older sister. Okay. Dang. So close. So Amy Adams is in Catch Me If You Can? Who does she play? No, she's not. Wait, what were the other two? What? Wait, hold on. Now I'm confused. Back to my movie. Yell if there's a bot. LOL. Unless I see it first. Okay, thanks, man. Thanks, Rayton. Dude, she's not in this movie. Who were the other? What was the answer? It is Amy Adams. What did she do in Catch Me If You Can? I'm looking at the cast right now. She's not in it. Oh my! Wait, never mind. She is. She is. Whoops. Whoopsie. I had to scroll down further. And then Julia Roberts was the last one. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I got you. I got you on that. All right. Well, anywho. That's my little movie warm up for today. So time to lock in. How many streams ago were you here last time, Angelo? I don't remember. I feel like there's a bunch we did that I need to update you on. I don't know. It's been a minute. Okay. In that case, I'll give you the brief rundown where we're at right now. So, we came up with a name for the main character, and we decided on a naming scheme for the mentor. They're not getting a name because it's more so the case that they're like a stand-in of a person rather than an actual person throughout like all the different versions of them. And so like the mentor's naming scheme is going to be like constellation or like stellar related names, like star related stuff. And then the main character is Corey. I think we sorted out what all the scenes would be as well too. I don't know. I feel like you were there for the end of that maybe, but maybe not. And then we also started writing a bunch of the scripts. So here, let me switch over. We started writing a bunch of the script too. So we've knocked out like the first act, I would say, with the exception of one final scene in the first act. I'm still stuck on how I'm going to write that. This whole like college advisor, like the office of the college advisor, that conversation that they have, I'm still stumped on that one because it's like it's supposed to be like the representation of the societal pressure that the main character gets, but I don't know how I want that conversation to go yet and what it'll add. I gotta go with good luck. What, you just got here? You just got here. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'll just keep explaining for antiquity's sake, or just for the record, and then also for Samuel because he's probably gonna watch this later. Afterwards, we started writing out the intersection scene, which is like a trend. It's like the mid. I don't want to say it's a midpoint. It's more of like the rising action or the inflection point of the story where things really start to build momentum and change. And so that one is a lot longer. And we're probably going to make some tweaks to it when we get to like a final draft. But at least for the first draft of it, we wrote that out as well too. Now we're transitioning into the second act and writing out that, and then also just kind of keeping in the back pocket the counselor scene in case I come up with anything for that as well too. Okay. All right. Okay. So now for the outdoor painting scene. Transition cut to exterior. I'm gonna say hillside. During the day. Okay, we get an establishing shot, which is probably going to be a wide. So wide shot. Is it a wide? Hold on. Is that what I'm thinking of? Where's the cheat sheet? Yeah, we're looking at a long shot or wide shot. Okay. Okay, so the mentor sits across from Corey as they both paint outside in what appears to be some kind of park, a trail. I think. Okay, I think if I were to position this in frame, I'm trying to think of how I'd want them to be sitting, facing towards the camera, because it's a wide shot, so it's a full body shot. But I want to say they're both like sitting, like mirroring each other, and so one of them has the easel like so, and they're painting on it like that, and then the other one is facing the other way, painting like on it like that. But they're a lot farther apart because this would be a wide shot. So like there may be like, I don't know, like 10 feet apart from each other in the wide shot. But I think that's what I would have, just as like a visual representation of it. Just kind of the idea that they're both doing their own thing there, and it's not really something that they're collaborating on. I think all that can be communicated with just that setup. Plus, it also hides what they're making from the audience in the establishing shot, so that I can get that later on when I start doing the over-the-shoulder shots. Okay, Mentor sits across both. It seems to be a park or trail. Also, I think it's nice because it gives Corey the opportunity to continue peeking over at the mentor's canvas to see what they're working on, because obviously there's going to be some sort of anxiety and tension within Corey about what they're making and how it's turning out and how it's not looking the way they want it to be, and then comparing themselves, of course, to the mentor and thinking like, oh my gosh, like this is like, I wish I could do way more of like what you're doing and I don't know how, that kind of deal, you know. It's like feeding their anxieties about not feeling like they have anything figured out, which is part of what the paintings here in this story, in this part of the story, represent. It's like it's a metaphor for their lives and how they're putting their lives together. So they sit across with Corey as they both paint outside. What appears to be some kind. Both are painting on easels. It's a beautiful. Natural landscape in the background. Vibrant. I want this to be very colorful. And then, of course, Corey would be the first to speak here. How's yours coming along, mentor? There's another synonym to absent-mindedly that I'm looking for here. It's like a drift or something. Preoccupied. There we go. That's what I'm. Why is that? Doesn't look like anything. Did you have something in mind when you started? No, not really. Okay, then there's a pause from Corey. Maybe a little huff. Corey. Okay. Returns to painting for a little longer. The sounds. Nope. Oops. Okay. So you start with the wide shot. Mentor sits across from Corey as they both paint outside in what appears to be some kind of park or trail. Both are painting on easels with a vibrant natural landscape in the background. And then Corey starts the conversation. How's yours coming along? Just fine. Yours? Terrible. Why is that? It doesn't look like anything. Well, did you have something in mind when you started? No, not really. Well, then why would it look like anything? And then Corey, a little irritated, got reasoned with in a way that made them feel stupid, maybe. But then they huff. They return to painting for a little longer, and we just have like the environment, like the babbling brook sounds, if you will, that just kind of fill the space for another minute. Evan Corey speaks up again. What are you making? I don't know. How's it turning out? Corey. How come yours is turning out just fine? Drayton. Help. Thank you. Appreciate that, boss man. Yours is turning out just fine. If you don't know what you're making either. More silence fills the space. Okay. Oh, I like all the pieces. I like all the parts I've added so far. So even though I'm not sure what it'll look like. Boom. Well, I like all the parts I've added so far. So even though I'm not sure what it'll look like when I'm done, I'm happy with what I've got. Okay, with what I've got. Feels more natural. What I've got.
Mentor's painting. Why? Your favorite color? All right, now this is where we add in the line from before. Oh, okay. Whatever. Save changes. That it was in the notes, and I just didn't have a home for it at the time that I'd written it, but I think it'll go in there just nicely. Okay, yeah, there we go. So we're just gonna tweak it. But it's gonna go in here somehow. Okay. All right, so maybe not. I mean, Corey is gonna be really obnoxious here and ask why somebody's favorite color is their favorite color. And then I can transition us into this dialogue. But how did you know it was your color? Tried a few out. Okay, are there any? Well, then how do you know? Your favorite color isn't one of those instead. I don't. It could be. Why waste your time? What do they say here? Could be another color. Wait, what did I say? How did I say that line again? Then I'll find it. But it's a pretty good place to start. Okay. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh. Ooh. Okay. Even if you change your mind later. doesn't hurt to start with the one thing, even if you change your mind later. It's a beautiful color. You can't ever have too many. Too much beauty. Too much of a beautiful thing. You should try a little more color. Okay, and then the mentor returns their attention to the painting. And Corey stares at their black and white canvas.
Okay. So now I'm at a bit of a crossroads. Because I believe I mentioned before that we might make Corey's color that they choose at the end orange. But I don't know if I want it to be the obvious thing that they chose orange. Like it was like always being hinted that they were going to pick orange until the end. We do have that little bit of foreshadowing where as one of the cars passes by for a brief moment, the mentor standing across the street is wearing a different color. And I was suggesting that color could be orange, as in like that's the color that we find out Corey settles on. But I don't know if I want to put in little like teasers and little like clues, like little breadcrumbs, like bringing us to that direction, or if I want it to be more of a thing of we show that Corey explored a couple options and then landed on orange by the end. There's a couple ways I can go with that, which I think would be pretty interesting. I think we'll do yellow. I think we'll do yellow for the color that they put on this canvas. Okay, so that completes the oh, no, this is not exterior, this is interior. Maybe grandma's name is Luna. Luna's kitchen. During the day. Okay. All right, Make sure. Oh, let me save all those updates. And let me check our notes again. All right, so we got the Ator painting scene. Oh, okay, gotcha. This is a couples therapy session. That's what it is. All right, so we'll switch over to interior Luna's kitchen. So that's not it, actually. It's actually no. Oh. Actually, gonna be interior. Couples counselor during the day. Ooh. Ooh. How is that dialogue going again? So it's couples therapy session, baking with grandma, mentor versus others. Okay. So we'll open with a wide shot again. Thing on the opposite end. From their partner. There we go. Explaining. Introducing themselves. Complete disinterest and exhaustion. Okay. Every time I spell out therapist, I always get like a fear moment that I spelt it wrong because of the way it's when you break it up into that whole meme of the word within therapist gets me every time because I'm like, oh shoot, did I spell that right? I think so, right? Right? That is the right way to spell it. It cracks me up. Okay. So We have the initial scene with the painting. We transition into the therapist office. Therapist is doing a little bit of an introduction to the session and everything that's going to be discussed. And then we get right into the thick of it for Corey's character. Okay. And then for in terms of like the notes that I had, it's another wide shot. So imagine like this full frame is the office, and then they're sitting on the couch there somewhere in the background. The mic will represent the therapist, and so you'll have this is a shot from behind the therapist facing towards our two subjects. So then Corey is sitting on this side, and then hold on, am I facing right way for that? If I'm watching this as a movie. Yes, Corey's sitting on this side of the therapist, and wait. Corey's on this side of the therapist. I should move this up. Yes, because the therapist is like in the foreground, so it kind of bisects the frame in half. And so Corey's on this side, and they're just kind of like the way they're sitting. It's kind of like just like disinterested and bored. Like they're very much checked out. And then the partner is sitting on this side, and I think their partner would have a body language that like would suggest that they're a lot more involved in this and more interested in this. Maybe they're more like leaning forward in their chair and just more cooperative with the therapist. Maybe in some way because they're trying to take initiative with the conversation, because perchance they're asserting that they're in control of their life and in control of like what their desires are, and maybe it was that which led them to being in this office in the first place. Whatever the case, their partner's a lot more engaged. Okay. And then the therapist is doing introductions. And we're just kind of jumping in as the therapist is talking. Navigate through complex emotions and emotionally. All right. Okay.
Ooh, okay. There we go. I'm cooking. I think I'm cooking here. So we cut to interior couples counselor during the daytime. We have the wide shot, counselor, therapist in the middle. We got Corey and their partner on either side. And Corey's body language is very much completely disinterested and tired on some level, but ultimately bored, honestly. Very much doesn't want to be here. And then the therapist's voice fades in, and they're talking, they're giving the whole spiel, and they're in the middle of that whole spiel. And so my role for the both of you is during these sessions is to help navigate through complex emotions and provide language we can use to express our feelings and share our pain without attacking each other emotionally. So, if that makes sense, Corey, would you like to start us off? And then Corey is kind of like, mind you, the whole time Corey's been like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. And then like would you like to start us off is kind of like a moment of like, me? Well, you want to hear what I have to say? Yeah. Well, I got plenty to say. You know, that's kind of the vibe there. Oh. Um, okay, where do you want me to start? How about we start with why you feel you're in my office today? So instead of doing the whole matter of fact approach with this one, I think Corey is going to immediately jump into the emotionality of what brought them in today. Let's see. They're going to share their grievances. Okay, so a lot of this I think is going to be Corey's doing a lot of like victim framing, I think, for this. Everything is happening to them, mind you, so they're very much still in that mindset. It's the like life is coming at you rather than you are like navigating through life, which is a mindset I think is very indicative of somebody who has no real, not necessarily, but like I think that it can be a byproduct of a lack of identity. To feel that way. So Corey leaves. So for them, this therapy, this couples counseling, this intervention is something that is thrust upon them. It's not something that they elected to do. Much like everything else in their life, it's all things that are thrust upon them. Is there a gender neutral term for someone you're married to? There's a... Spouse. That's what it is. It's spouse. It took me a minute. Sorry. De-escalating. Okay. Not making any judgments. We're simply expressing how we feel. So that's just it right there. Okay, so far I have the therapist introducing this stuff. We get that fade in with, and so my role for the both of you during these sessions is to help navigate through complex emotions and provide language we can use to express our feelings and share our pain without attacking each other emotionally. So if that makes sense, Corey, would you like to start us off? And then Corey, what? Would you like to start by sharing how you've been feeling? And then Corey sits up. It's like, oh, well, where do you want me to start? And then therapist, how about we start with why you feel you're in my office today? I love in my head, I have the therapist from Rick and Morty. That kind of tonality and like monotone, like affect is what I have in my head with the therapist, but a little bit more corporatized. Like that's what I think of, like almost like corporate speak. How about we start with why you feel you're in my office today? And Corey, obviously on the offensive right from the gate, because the love of my life doesn't want to be with me anymore. And it's like, whoa, okay. And so, of course, the spouse is like, oh my God, here we go again. Every time. They've heard that spiel a billion times. They're very over it. And then the therapist starts de-escalating. So it's like, that's okay. We're not making any judgments. We're simply expressing how we feel here. Please continue, Corey. Okay. Let me make that adjustment. And then Corey's like, well, that's just it right there. They don't want me. They don't want me anymore. I don't even know what I did. I'm gonna rephrase that last line. It has to be a lead-in for the therapist to tease out all the feelings of, I've done everything for this relationship and now it's about to end. And that's what I'm really afraid of. We have to build to that, and I'm not quite sure yet how I'm gonna get there. But I think this is a good opening intro to kind of feed us that line for now. But I'm probably going to pause there for today. It's going to be a shorter stream since I have a movie later tonight and everything like that. But I think that's a pretty decent setup for the next week. We got through another scene, full scene. We're starting on partial for this scene here. Honestly, I think by the time this whole thing is done, I'm gonna say we're looking at maybe like a half-hour runtime, which is pretty exciting for me. I think that's the longest thing I've ever written when that's done. So that'd be pretty sick. As for what to do after the completed script, it's hard to say, but I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic thus far. Okay. Probably gonna do a little bit of battle on my way out the door. First, we got a burgle. Anxiety, car accident, lawyer, music, stage competition, bus, blood, chair. First thing that comes to mind is Little Miss Sunshine for a lot of these. Only 3. Huh. All right. Carrie. Oh, that only gets me blood? What? Chair, music, bus, car accident, anxiety. Car accident, anxiety. Car accident. I feel like there's 1,000,000,001 car accidents in movies. Why can't I think of a single one? Car accident. Anxiety. What is that movie with? It's Tobey Maguire, and I think he plays a war vet. Actually, you know what? Let me do Birdman. The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance. I think there's nothing. Okay, wow, that's embarrassing. I got 3 out of 7 attempts so far. Okay. Chair, bench, recliner, couch, sofa, bus, car accident, anxiety. Is there any chance Big Hero 6? That's awkward. Iron Man 3 has anxiety. What? Bro, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose this burgle really bad. Unless I do a crazy lock-in right about now. Why am I blanking on car accident? I can't think of anything with car accident. That's like an important part of the story. Along with anxiety? All right, I'm just gonna go Puss in Boots. Last Wish. Hopefully that gives me anxiety. Nope. Psych. I'm cooked. It's over. I'm just gonna do Speed for Bus then, I guess. Yeah, bus car accident. There we go. Whiplash has all of those? What? I guess he does throw the chair at him. Jazz competition, sheet music. Oh, his bus gets a flat tire. Oh, okay. There is a car. Okay, that doesn't even count, really. It's got mentioned. Nobody. Okay. Joker. 2. Okay. These are all silly, but I guess. Fine. If you insist. Anywho. I feel like I should close out with something as well too, but I'm not quite sure what. I'm gonna brainstorm it a little bit, and maybe I'll come up with something by next stream. But I think it'd be nice to have a little bit of an outro, like decompress thing to do before I close streams. But anywho, I gotta get ready for my movie. So Drayton, thanks for modding as per usual. Thanks everybody that joined the stream. And y'all have a good night. Take care, everybody. Boom, boom, boom.